Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Tal, and this is like take 19 or something. And today we don't talk about foam weapons, because I was kind of bored of shooting those videos one after the other. I have a few in storage. And instead, I thought, how about after talking about weapons, we talk about using foam weapons in LARP combat. So, this video is intended to be a series of quick fire tips and tricks to get yourself through your first fight. If you are new to the hobby or have been into the hobby and never fought. But I think that it is useful also for other people, for those who have been fighting for a while, for veterans and all that stuff, because they are very simple things that, are always good to remember. So, first, let's address the elephant in the room, which is skill. The only way that I know of to get good at anything, whether it is practical, theoretical, in between, is doing it. You want to get good at fighting? Fight. There is no workaround, no way to not fight if you want to get good at fighting. You have to go there, do the thing, you will get mushed, it's fine, it's normal, even though the best fighters you see have been there. Everybody has been that guy with no experience, barely knowing how to wield a weapon, and through practice, dedication, and tenacity, really, they got. English is weird. They got somewhere. That's what I was going for. Second thing, important for this video in the specific, and focus is going nuts, is that this video is not a deep dive into fighting. There is no... I won't be going into the theory because I don't have the time, I don't have the light in the day, and I think I do not have the knowledge, the authority to tell any of that stuff. So, as with anything on this channel, the contents of this video are basically my experience put into a way that somebody else can I guess, find not boring or not frustrating or not as frustrating as it was for me going through it. So let's get into the meat and the potatoes. Now, basically, when you fight, when you have your weapon in hand, you have the other guy who has a weapon in hand and is trying to actively kill your character. During a fight, you do essentially any of three things, usually all of them. You attack, you defend, you move. Okay? There is also magic. I won't go into the magic here now, because every system has its own way of doing magic, so there is nothing really I can tell you about it. Of course, make sure that you have read your LARP's brief about combat, so that you know whether or not they allow thrusting and or head shooting, aiming for head, because that is very important for a matter of safety. So make sure you have read that. If you haven't, pause the video, go to the place, read the thing, and then come back. So let's start with the boring things. Movement. Movement sounds dumb, sounds silly to talk about how you should move, but it's like if not the most important thing, kind of important. Because it's the one thing that tells whether you can attack, whether you can hit somebody and cause damage, or that somebody can hit you and cause damage to you. Now, there isn't much sort of quick, I can tell, but there are still a few tips. First of all, and most important of all, is avoid crossing your legs. It feels natural to do so for some people, but by crossing your legs, you make it likelier to trip, especially if you have things dangling from your belt, like scabbards, war skirts, some important items. If the ground is not like a floor, a wooden marble floor, but it's say a field with taller grass that you can't, where it's hard to see where you're going, that could lead to unpleasant happenings, like twisting ankles and falling into ditches. Happened to me a few times, and all that stuff. And if you fall and you are heavy, dressed in heavy stuff, with bulky things on you, it gets annoying and potentially dangerous. Also, he says, completely forgetting a thing, that if you cross your legs when you take a step, you cover less distance. While if you move with your leading leg being the one in the direction you want to go, so for example, you want to go forwards, you lead with your front leg and you follow with your back leg, or you want to go right, hopefully I got the stage camera thingy right, you lead with your right leg and then you follow with your left leg, and so the other way round. If you do this, you are stable, you are more stable, or stabler, I don't know, for the entire length of the step, and you can feel where you are going with the leg that is leading without shifting your whole weight onto that leg. So if there is something that, where you would land, that isn't good, like a ditch, somebody else, a hole, a stone, anything, you're not already physically committed to go there, so you can still change your bearing. Sounds dumb, sounds stupid. It's not. That seventh time you fall into a ditch, happened to me like three or four. It's not as silly as it sounds. Now, it may take a smidge to get used to it, because it's not something that we tend to do immediately. It's just a matter of practice, as I said earlier. So, for the purpose of talking about strikes, I'm going to assume that your LARP does not allow thrusting and head shooting. None of that stuff. So that you can use these tips, can apply these tips almost anywhere you go, regardless of the system. Now, strikes, there are as many as there are angles from which you can attack somebody. Really, it's that simple. But the ones I used the most, so the ones that were either by rules or by weapon the most useful or the most frequent, were the diagonal, which is perfect for aiming at shoulders, like this length, hips, belt, knees, if you're evil. Then there is the horizontal flat, which is perfect for belt, hips, thighs, that area, especially if your opponent is on the tall side. Taller opponents mean they have the head is taller from the ground, so you have less chances of striking them in the face. Signed, a tall person. And then the mirror to the diagonal falling strike, which is the diagonal rising, which goes to knees, belts, ribs, and if you're evil, again, armpits. That's it, really. Those are the ones you are most likely to be using the most. There are others. There is always more. You'll see that there is always stuff you haven't considered, but that stuff you will pick up on the field, and I think it's best you pick up on the field because you can try it. Really, that's the thing. You have to try it. You have to do it until you feel the movement is good. Okay, that's it for strikes, really. Parries are a sort of mirror topic to strikes. Effectively, every strike has a mirror parry. Now, for the purpose of LARP, which is a very specific context, I'm going to say, for the moment, that you just need to oppose your weapon or shield. If you're using a shield, if you can, I suggest you use a shield whenever possible, because they are perfect for, like, they are the most one of the most forgiving combinations for new people. You just oppose the weapon or the shield, and that's it, as you can see here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in the camera, in the clip, lower parries, if you're a tall person, so parrying attacks aimed at your legs, like, you know, the diagonals, sometimes it's simpler, faster, shorter, better to just take a step backwards. I learned it the hard way in the story I told you about my previous character's death at in the video about the Persephone, I think. I was struck by a diagonal falling strike. I thought, I can parry it, and turns out I couldn't. I should have taken the famous step back. I didn't. So don't be me, don't be dumb. Okay, this was a mouthful. This was, I think, the longest video I have ever shot. Over some time, like 2 weeks, because light and weather and video editing software, doing video editing software things, and bugs, and weird stuff. I hope you had fun. I hope watching me say weird stuff and in a weird costume was even remotely entertaining, and you know, things are not looking too bright right now. So even if I made you smile for like half a minute, I'm cool with it. I'm happy with it. I hope to see you soon, really, because gods, it's been a while. I hope to fight with you also, because that's fun. If we ever are at the same event and you see me around the field, just come at me and say, I want to spar with you, or I shall duel, or, you know, let's cross blades, or however you fancy. Because sparring with people is always fun, and is a way to know them, and it's also a way to get good at things. And with that said, everybody, I wish you the best 2021 that you can shape this train wreck into, and see you next time.